Hello and welcome. I am Dr. Lara May, a clinical pharmacist specializing in functional medicine, as well as a certified yoga teacher and Reiki Master. I run a truly integrative health coaching practice, encompassing functional medicine lab testing, yoga and meditation, and a sprinkling of Reiki energy medicine. Join me here on Light Body Radio to break through your health plateau and come into alignment with your natural vitality. Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Light Body Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Lara May, and today joins me again, Stephanie May, who is a licensed massage therapist and also a Holy Fire Reiki Master. Welcome.
Good morning. Hello.
So today we want to talk to you about Reiki and I've already done one podcast about a general introduction to Reiki. And so today we really wanted to talk about the different types or the differences in the levels and the attunements and why the system is set up the way it is and the importance of that. And we're going to be offering a Reiki booster course in December, and so we thought this would be a perfect time to introduce the why of why we're offering this course. So Stephanie, why don't we get started? Tell us about your journey to Reiki and through your different levels and attunements and what different styles of Reiki that you've been attuned to and that you practice.
I was first exposed to Reiki, just receiving my first session in 2014. I did my first attunement in 2016, and that was traditional Usui. In 2019, I did my Holy Fire III Level 2, and this year I received my Holy Fire Master placement. And in Holy Fire, we refer to them as placements, not attunements. But my journey is very interesting. I originally started looking into Reiki because my dog was having some behavioral issues. And my dog was such an amazing dog all his life. And so for him to have behavioral issues really bothered me to the core. I didn't understand what was going on. I tried to do all the dog whisper things, and those were not necessarily working. And so it got to the point, I was always such an advocate too of there are no aggressive breeds in there. And because my dog was a lab shepherd mix, I thought it was twice as crucial than normal to fix these issues, because I simply put, I just could not have an aggressive shepherd mix. So I started, looking into non-traditional things, like what's going on. That's when I started at first I started looking into CBD just to ease his anxiety. And then I took him to holistic vet, and he was prescribed some Chinese herbs to calm his inner wind, which those things did help. But there's a lot of information out there that suggests your animals are a reflection of your own energy. And so it just got to the point where I really had to look at that myself. My life was pretty stressful at the time, and I had moved quite a few times in a 6-month period alone. And, animals just don't handle that well. But it wasn't by choice. I was moving because I had no choice. But either way, I had to look at all that. I had to take a look in the mirror and figure out and take control and responsibility for what I could. What about me is causing this? What can I fix? What can I change? What can I do better? And one of my friends, one of our mutual friends, had just done her first Reiki attunement. And so she needed to practice. And so I called her over to my apartment to do a practice session on me. And I had Ajax in the room with me, and he loved it. He laid down under the table, and he was a completely different dog for the next couple weeks after that. But then, some issues started to come back. And so that was a key moment for me that really told me, his anxiety is because of my anxiety. His issues are a reflection of my issues. So that was really my first sign as to how Reiki was going to help me in my life. I had no idea at the time that I would go as far with it as I did, but that's kind of how my journey started.
Yeah, I totally get that. I myself I had been exposed. I'll just do a quick review since we're going over our stories. I myself had been exposed to Reiki through a mutual friend since I was, I think, back in '99. So I was 19 at the time. But I had never practiced myself. I had always been the receiver of Reiki. And so later on in my life, around 2014, 2015, I was again struggling, looking for things, not finding answers within traditional systems, both with my health and my mental and emotional state. And so I was like, well, look into this Reiki thing and see if it could be something that could be helpful to me. And I think much like you, like it really just opened up so much to me about my energy management, how I, talk to myself, how I protect my energy and was not protecting my energy and taking on a lot. I think empaths do have the possibility of learning a lot from Reiki because I think it could be really helpful with clearing out other things that they've taken on from, other people. And so once I went through level 1 through master attunements with Usui, then my teachers were exposed and attuned to Angelic Reiki. And I went through that level 1 and master. And that was a whole nother level of ascension and expansion and really beautiful, powerful energy to not only help myself, but to help those that I work with. And so it is something that's super gentle. I think that's worth being noted, because maybe later on we can talk about the possibility of a healing crisis. But in general, Reiki is extremely gentle and it goes where it's needed. It can transcend space and time. And it should be for the highest and greatest good of the person receiving it, right?
So after I had all those results with my dog, as we all do, life happens and takes over again sometimes. So for whatever reason, I did not continue to use it Reiki. Things were better, things were fine, life took over. But I found myself, business finally took off in my massage business. And I was rolling, I was going for it. And in hindsight, I was definitely burning the candlestick from both ends. And one of the things that I very much learned about myself was to the extent that I'm an empath. I always kind of knew I was an empath, but massage really showed me how extreme of an empath I am. And that's also what brought me back to it to pursue it more, was because it was draining me. There was so much transference happening for me. I would, if a patient would come in having anxiety, by the end of the session, I was literally having a panic attack because I had sucked up all their anxiety. So I truly, just for the sake of longevity and surviving daily life, had to figure out how to protect my energy just in the treatment room alone.
Yeah.
Even though I was using Reiki for healing, I had not really looked into it as far as protecting my own energy.
Yeah. That was
So that's really what motivated me to finally pursue practicing it and to receiving my attunements instead of just receiving it. Was I really wanted to learn how to protect myself, not just as a career, but also personally, because in some of those healing sessions, I had started to recognize unhealthy patterns in my life, of people taking advantage of me and also sucking out, my energy and my personal relationships. And so just all across the board, there was this calling for me to pursue that and learn how to protect myself.
Yeah, I think that was definitely one of the first things that I probably implemented daily after even my first attunement with level 1 was the energy protection. And I think so many people are unaware of what they're taking on. They're in these, I was working in a hospital at the time. And so I was in and around sick patients. And then, of course, my coworkers with all their drama. And same with you. Like, I didn't realize how much I was taking on and how much I was letting it affect me. But after the attunement and after being taught the any energy management strategies that Reiki teaches you and can provide you, that was definitely life-changing. It was super empowering and really allowed me to be the observer so much more rather than being sucked down into the vortex of drama and stress and all the things that we're all exposed to daily if we let ourselves. And so I think, and that's still something that I use to this day. Every day before I go into the hospital, I call in my angels of protection, and I ask that I not take on anything and that I just be the highest and best, not healer, but like example that I can be, not getting like sucked into judgment and all that. So yeah. So I wanted to ask you, how is Holy Fire different than Usui? So Usui is the original and most traditional form of Reiki, founded by Dr. Matsumo Usui from Japan. I just wanted to know, how Holy Fire is different.
I appreciate what you said about Reiki being gentle, because as just like physically, like what goes on physically in a session, there's no physical exertion at all. It requires nothing of a recipient to lay there and receive, and it requires little to very little of me to hold my hands over you in certain positions. So in that sense, yes, Reiki is very gentle. However, in my experience, and I know I'm not alone in this, but I also know not everyone's like me. My level one attunement was so incredibly powerful. And just a side note,
your level 1 was an Usui level 1.
Yes.
Okay, keep going. I just want to be clear.
Note, when you receive these attunements, your level 1 is a 20%, ascension or upgrade in your consciousness and in your healing. Your level 2 is 60%, which is massive if you think about that. So the level 2 is very powerful, and your master, your advanced level, is 20 more percent. So with that said, for my level 1, most people level 1 doesn't affect them that much, and it's only 20%. And theoretically speaking, it shouldn't have been that big of a deal, right? But for me, that was not the case. To be frank, it kicked me in the ass.
Did you have a healing crisis?
Well, no, that happened after,
I mean, is that what we need to call it? Because we can talk about that.
Let's talk about that in a minute, because that'll digress me from the point I want to make.
Oh, okay. So make your point already.
So it was very powerful for me, but it was absolutely what I needed. but with that said, I waited a while before I pursued my level 2. A lot of people will do level 1 and 2 in the same weekend, and that's
Mm-hmm.
totally fine. That's
Mm-hmm.
totally allowed. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me personally, that 20% was so powerful. Things dramatically changed in my life, and I grew so much. I wouldn't say that was my healing crisis at all. I think
Okay, it was just a greater awareness and understanding of things.
yeah, um, yes. But I think because of that, just seeing how intense all the growth was in that alone, and it
Yeah.
made me very apprehensive. It made me a little scared to do the level 2, not because not because it would hurt me. Like nothing hurt me in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
um but it was just like, holy crap, this
Mind
was a lot
blowing.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was mind blowing. That
Okay.
20% alone was
Yeah.
mind blowing for me. And I don't want to scare anybody away, but so just to let you know, I had a lot of crap I needed to deal with.
Yeah.
um
Yeah, we all
I
do.
had
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lot though, just in this life alone, whether you believe in past lives or not. So who even knows how much I had in my past life? so
Yeah.
so I was sitting here going, holy crap, if that's level 1, level 2 is gonna kick me in the ass. And so I waited, and I even had that discussion with the Reiki master I had been seeing. Was not the same person that did my level 1, and so I'd been having that discussion with her, like, I really want to do my level 2, but honestly I don't know if I can handle that emotionally right now. And she was actually Holy Fire, and she let me know, and she gave me a lot of research, which I love. She said, listen, Holy Fire, yes, Reiki is a gentle practice physically, but Usui is actually very powerful. And my first attunement was very powerful. It was on my birthday under the full moon. So I don't know if you can get more aligned, in more perfect alignment for an attunement.
Yeah.
Um, so like the energy was surging out of my body. I felt like a vibrating battery, just this electricity all the time was coming out of me.
Yeah.
And she she gave me that validation I needed, that that Usui is so incredibly powerful, and that Holy Fire is even more powerful than that, but it is a gentle power. Um, she let me know that it is the most gentle, but also the most powerful, if that makes sense. And that was almost like exactly what I needed to hear.
Mhm.
And so it gave me hope that if I pursued my level 2, it wouldn't, turn my life upside down again. And so that's kind of why I pursued that. And everything is divinely planned anyway. So once she told me that, then I immediately was like, okay, yes, I'm ready to do this. And it dawned on me that that's why I had waited, because the other realms of Reiki weren't my calling, and Holy Fire was my calling.
Yeah. So,
Um,
yeah. I think you bring
so
up a
that's
lot of good
the
points.
yeah, that's the biggest difference. It is said in the manuals and by all the other practitioners and by William Rand himself that the download he received was that it is the most powerful, but it is also the most gentle. And I don't mean that as like, oh, it's better, because that's not for everybody. Everybody has their own cup of tea. So I definitely don't mean it that way. I don't think it's better than any of the others.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So let's just talk about the path and what people resonate with and what they're drawn to. So like for you, it was a Usui to Holy Fire. For me, it was a Usui to Angelic. And then beyond Angelic, I studied and became a Master Orion channel, which means that I bring in consciousness from the galactic realm, which is a total different type of expansion and ascension, and being in tune with different beings of a different vibration. And so I definitely think it's worth stating that intention plays a huge role in any energy modality, but especially Reiki, because, I think maybe that's not brought up enough in level 1, and that we can have the intention that this attunement can be obviously for our highest and greatest good, but in as gentle and as an easy way possible, as the most easy way possible, so that it doesn't upset our lives. And so I do think that the onus is on the teacher and the person bringing in the attunement for the student to, to prepare them and to help them set intentions for themselves. And so,
And
I think
in my Reiki Masters defense in level 1, I went to a yoga and Reiki retreat in the furthest most point of Costa Rica I could get to, and I had some travel delays, so I missed the first half of the day of the 5-day retreat. So she may have gone over that information, but I did not get that information. And then I get there, and just few hours later, it's nighttime and the full moon, and she's like, okay, let's go ahead and do your attunement. And so I'm just like zapped with this full moon energy, this birthday energy, this Reiki energy too now. And it was just like supercharged me.
Yeah, and that could be part of it probably is, I think, without a doubt, part of your soul contract and your path, but no less jarring, for you at that time. Yeah.
So yeah, that was, and so I pursued my holy fire, and I can tell you right now that during that placement, it was not nearly, I felt the flow. I felt the flow of the energy, but it was such a gentle, warming, loving flow. It did not feel like I was a vibrating battery full of energy. And so it was a completely different experience than my first one. And so that's when I truly understood what she meant by how it is more powerful, but it is also more gentle.
Yeah. And why do they call it a placement instead of an attunement?
That's a great question that I may have to look up. I don't really remember why, other than I think that's just what what William Rand was told.
Okay. By the masters that were bringing it in.
Yeah, I also know he struggled with the name too. He absolutely was like, I really don't want to have to call this holy fire. Can we call it something else? I don't want it to be associated with religion. I don't want it to be confused with religion. I don't. And his guide was like, no, this is what it's called. Like this is it. This is what you're getting. So this is the way you have to do it. And
accept it or not, but
yeah, I had to accept my chart, and he had to accept it. Yeah. So I do know that much, and I'm gonna go out without taking the time to flip through my manual. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that that's just what it was. It was called.
We can put it in the show notes too, so don't worry about it. Okay. So let's transition into our class for the last 15 to 20 minutes here. So we both talked about, well, you brought me some questions.
Well, no, it wasn't. I reached out to you because I knew you were Angelic, and I had someone inquire with me about a Reiki certification. They wanted to be attuned, and so I wanted to create a course, and it took me a little while to get back to them because again, life. And when I got back to them, they said, oh, I've actually already done it now, and I'm already a master. And that just kind of knocked my socks off because 3 months prior they had never even had level 1. And so I'm sitting here going, and this was by no means am I degrading anything or saying anyone is illegitimate, but there is a process for a reason. Not everyone has to go through my timeline, but there are timeline standards,
in Usui and Holy Fire. So I reached out to you to ask, because she had said she did Angelic, to ask if that was the same practice and principles in Angelic, that you have to wait 6 months between your level 2 and your masters, because there is that 60% upgrade. You need time to process, you need time to practice, you need time to really go through that growth, and really understand, you know, a lot of those things that are downloaded to you in that level 2. And aside from all that, there is just, you know, a code of conduct and a code of ethics and what.
Yeah, integrity.
And integrity to like the traditional principles. And so I just wanted to have a conversation about all these people out there that offer these 1, 2, and 3 for $10 on Udemy courses, and what you thought of that, and the information they get in there versus the information in a full course, and all the things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just want to take this moment to talk about the difference between the Reiki system versus the Reiki energy. And I think a lot of people, when they do these, we'll call them accelerated paths.
Yes, that's a great word.
Yeah, that they definitely are working with the Reiki energy, because Reiki energy is universal. It is the universal life force energy. We all have access to it, and we all can, you know, use it with our intention for healing and for clearing and for all these different intentions that we have for ourselves. But the Reiki system, which is what Dr. Usui designed as he was channeling and downloading, like you said, is really for the appropriate use of the energy, both by the practitioner and the teacher, which involves protection and being intentional and deliberate, and having it be within a structure to give it some order because that's just the way like the earth realm works. The earth realm has certain laws. The energetic realm is much more open, but on the earthly plane, some energetic aspects conform to certain dynamics and perspectives. And so I think that's what the Usui system provides, which is a greater structure than just using Reiki energy in and of itself. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think that's why any practice or craft or medicine or trade has a code of conduct and a code of ethics separately, because there's a lot of different ways you can go with anything. Like in massage, you know, we want to uphold the integrity of our profession. You know, we want to set a good example and say, this is what it's supposed to be about. So we have a code of conduct and a code of ethics, just like anything else. Yes, can massage be used for not positive, awesome things? Absolutely. Is there always going to be the quote unquote bad apple that's going to be giving our profession a bad name and doing all the things that they're not supposed to be doing? Of course, like you're going to get that with anything, but that systems are created for that, to keep you on track, and as a reminder, and to kind of give you things to always come back to, you know, like, oh yeah, am I doing this? How is this supposed to be done? You know, oh, I have a question about this. Oh, let's go look at the information and see like how we're supposed to be doing it. It's there for a reason.
Yeah. So with that being said, you and I decided to create these new booster courses. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So because of all that, we decided that there's a lot of information probably being left out in your level 1 or 2, or because
and
they
master.
And master as well. Because quite frankly speaking, if you do a 1, 2, and a master in 3 months, there's probably a lot of information you just didn't receive, just for time purposes alone. So we are putting together, instead of a full course, we're doing 1 and 2 together and then we're doing a master, so 2 separate ones, and we're calling it a booster because we're basically just trying to fill in all the blanks. We're going to go into detail. We're going to talk about angels. We're going to talk about guides. We're going to talk about crystals. We're going to talk about chakras a little more in depth. We're going to talk about all the side questions that you may not have had the opportunity to ask in your level 1 and 2, as well as your master. And then on top of that, we're also going to reattune you just to upgrade your energy and give you that refresher.
Yes, yes. So we'll also be talking about energy protection, working with intentions, and creating mantras and affirmations for yourself to infuse that are also infused with Reiki that'll really help you clear and dissolve blocks and, you know, manifest more of what you want in your life. And I think that's something that's probably not talked about too much, but is definitely an aspect that can be used. And if you're going to do it, why not do it in the best and most powerful way possible?
Exactly.
Cool. Anything else?
So I do want to mention that we did just decide right before this Zoom, because I had someone interested that was only a level 1. And originally, we designed this to be for people that had already had their level 1 and level 2. However, in the discussion, because of the way we're going to do it and the things you're going to be exposed to, the level 2 information, we have decided to keep, because everyone in there also definitely has to be a level 1 anyway, we're going to keep the level 1 information very brief, and we're going to spend most of the time on level 2 information. So we will be offering at the end of your level 1 and 2, you will definitely be level 2 certified if you were not before. So level 1s only, we've just decided, are now allowed to take this class. You don't have to be a level 2 yet, because you're going to get all the information that you would receive in a level 2, and it's going to be done according to the time frames and timelines that the associations in the Usui system recommends.
Yes, and so we're actually going to be hosting this and teaching this class on December 19th and 20th. And we're offering a Black Friday special to buy one, get one half off. So even if you're a level 1 right now, you can go ahead, sign up for the special, and you can use that and hold on to that credit for the master at a different time for yourself. So if you're only a level 1 right now, don't worry that the Black Friday special doesn't apply to you, because this will get you started with the level 1, 2 booster and level 2 attunement. And then when you're ready, then we can, Stephanie and I will probably be teaching a master class also. Yes. So,
but
cool.
It will be one of the things that is one of our highlights of our booster program is that we are adhering to the traditional system. So there will be a 6-month gap between any participants that take our level 1 and 2. We will not be offering a master to them for 6 months, just to adhere to and be respectful of the traditions of the Usui system.
Yes, and we'll guide you through what to do during that 6 months too. So you won't be just like, you know, blown open and then be like, okay, see you later, bye.
Yes, absolutely. We will always be available.
Yeah, and so and for those of you that are masters, also you might be thinking, well, if I'm already a master, how does this Black Friday special apply to me? So with the total cost for both level 1 and 2 and the master, the Black Friday special is $350. And so once you buy it, you can pick which class applies to you, and then we can take that money and apply it to another Reiki training and attunement and or class that is also appropriate. So don't worry, you will get the full value of all the classes and all the wonderful energy upgrades, and it'll be fantastic. And I think it's a perfect time for right now, going through all the COVID stuff that we're all going through and leading up to the holidays and all the travel that you may or may not be doing and family that you may or may not be able to see. So there's a lot. And so I think this is actually a perfect time to help us give you some tools to help deal with that and to help clear it out, how to open up to a more beautiful, positive, loving energy, and to maybe not take on so much negativity from the news and from our workplaces and all the things that are happening right now. So anything else you want to say about that, Steph?
Yeah, there may be a surprise offer for the individual classes alone in the near future as well, but we just haven't decided on that yet. So stay tuned.
Yes, there definitely is more coming. We're feeling the flow opening to bringing more to teach you. So that's exciting for everyone. We hope you are as excited as we are about it. Okay, so I think that's it for today, unless there's something else you have a burning desire for, Stephanie.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to put all of the links for all of the things. So everything we mentioned is going to be in the show notes. Keep your eyes peeled on both our social media pages and in our email lists, if you're on our email list, for all the promo material and all the discount codes. So go to drlaramay.com, sign up for anything free on my website, and you'll be included in my email list, and you will automatically get the Black Friday special and discount code. We've already started it, and we're going through Sunday with it. And then on Cyber Monday, we have a different special that we're going to run. Right, Steph? Yes, she's saying yes. You couldn't hear it, but she said yes.
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 Yeah. So, and Stephanie, where do people go on your website to get on your email list?
And I will be posting that in the notes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you can click on, yeah. So I suggest, I mean, I know we're all like on everyone's email list already, but Stephanie and I practice two different realms, even though we're both Reiki Masters. She's a massage therapist and is exploring the avenue of becoming an acupuncturist. I'm a functional medicine practitioner and health coach. So even though we both do energy work, we work complementary with our patients as well and our clients. And so you'll see different things coming out of both lists. So I encourage you to get onto both lists. And then that way you definitely won't miss any of the Reiki discounts and specials and classes that we're offering. And then you'll find out about everything else that we're going to be doing coming up in the new year. So thank you for joining in, and definitely check out the show notes. Follow me on Instagram at Dr. Laramay, DrLaramay. I am also on Facebook and Twitter, the same handle, and you can find the Black Friday discount code there. And Stephanie, where can they find you on social media?
My Instagram is at Steeps2Sands, and that's with the number 2. So STEEPS2SANDS. It is a travel, health, wellness blog. Basically, it's kind of an all-in-one, and that's about all I have for now. Because I'm changing my Facebook and pages all around. I'm in the process of changing all that.
Yeah, you don't need a bunch of things. One thing is fine. So yeah, so find Stephanie and I both on Instagram. I will put all those links in the show notes. And thank you so much. We'll talk to you more in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.